Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a GW E100, the Geschützwagen E100. It's the Tier 10 German SPG. It's located on the west spawn of Studzianki, and it's under the command of B Noir of the KIWI clan. Okay, game started. Well, this Arty only comes with one caliber of howitzer. It's the 21cm. It's got a rather long reload time, just under 33 seconds, but it'll do 1100 alpha and penetrate 53mm of armour. And it's got a burst radius of 12 meters, and with a premium ammo, that goes up to 13.2 meters. And that means quite a big area, a big footprint for the shell. Well, he's headed south at the moment. Well, I think he's found his firing position next to these trees, and well, thankfully he doesn't knock them over when he's positioning himself. Well, there's some enemy tanks seen in the south, and those are the ones he's going for first. In fact, it's a T95 FV4201 Chieftain. Rounds out. Unfortunately, he didn't stay to see what happened to the shell, but we can see that he did actually hit the tank for 416. It was a direct hit. That was a bit of a pity. In fact, he set him alight as well, and he burned for 707 hit points of damage on top of that. But he's still alive, still in action. He obviously was not carrying a fire extinguisher because he burned for quite a lot of damage. 707 is more than the amount of damage he did with the first shot. More than the damage he did with a direct hit, I should say. Up in the north, we've got a pair of enemy tanks, an AMX-13105 and an STB-1. Well, if he can hit both of them together, that will make a big difference. He fires around in again. He pulls away without telling us what happened, and we can see that he did hit both. The AMX-13105 for 419 hit points and the STB-1 for 393. And I suppose at this point in the battle, I should actually give a warning to B Noir. If you do pull away after firing without letting us see what happens to the shell, so we can see where the shell landed, then unfortunately we reserve the right not to show your replays in future. Okay, he's going to go for the STB-1, and he does it again. Yeah, how would you like it if you're in a tank and you fired at another tank, but the moment you fired, you then looked away to say, oh, well, I'll see what shopping I need to get this week, and oh, I'll look down below and see if I hit him. Oh, I can't tell if I hit him because I don't know where the shell went. Yeah, I know I'm being facetious and sarcastic, but the fact of the matter is that if you won't show us what happens, we can't show the viewers what actually happened with your shell. Okay, he's going for a couple of targets now. An FV215B and an FV4005. He fires and does it yet again. I think we're just going to have to show a yellow card to B Noir. You know, I might have to send back all your replays and say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do any more because you won't show us what's going on in the battle. He fired around him. We never even got to see what happened to that shell. We don't know if it went long, it went short, if it hit them but did no damage. He's just not providing any of the information because he won't stay with the shell. Well, I'm afraid I'm going to actually take control of this one. Even though he's pulled away, I'm going to stay and watch what happened to the shell. And he couldn't see the target, so this time round we couldn't see any damage. Okay, he's backing up to find a new firing position. I know a lot of Arty players will say, yes, but I need to move in order to avoid counter-battery. But have you been counter-batteried once in this battle so far? No, you haven't. Okay, now another target's been spotted. It's the Object 277, very low on hit points. He's loaded, and I'm going to stay with this spot in case he does fire. Okay, he's now re-aimed for the North Wood. The STB-1 is supposedly still up there. He fires and then pulls away immediately. And the shell hit and killed the AMX-13105. But of course he didn't see that. He didn't see the shell impact on something because of course he wasn't looking. he'd already pulled away by that point. In fact, he's now moving to a new firing position. We can't even see the wreck of the 13105, but we know that we hit him because there was... Oh, it suddenly appeared there down below. You can see it in the lower end of the picture. Okay, he's now aiming for an Object 430U over on the east side of the map behind the ridge. He pulls away yet again. The shell hits the ridge line, so of course we know that there was a problem. The shell fell short, RNG, and he didn't hit the target. And yet again he's moving to a new firing position. It appears I'm going to have to take charge of the camera on all of these shots, and I will give a warning to Benoit. If I find this again and it happens again in any of his replays, then we'll just reject all of them, because there's no point. We can't show them because he's not allowing the viewer to see what's going on. Well, on this occasion he did stay with the camera, and we did see what happened to the Object 277. He did actually hit him, and he's not moving or repositioning, so he can't say, oh well, I was repositioning to avoid counter battery. He hasn't been counter batteried once in this game so far. Now going for the Object 430U, almost loaded. Again, I'm going to have to take charge of the camera. He fires a round in. Does he move? No, and the shell hits the ridgeline just as it did before. So there's no chance the Object 430U was damaged. He's re-aimed in the north towards the Leopard 1. I know a lot of people will say it's a pet bug of mine or bugbear that I keep going on and saying, look, you have to stay to see what happens to the shell, but it's very important. If you were in attack, you would not pull away after you shot. You would stay to see what happened to the shell. And this time round he did stay to see what happened to the shell, and it did hit the Leopard 1. It didn't go long, or it didn't hit the building. It hit the Leopard 1, and he did do damage. 562 hit points this time. And the Leopard 1, well, he's decided he's getting out of there before he gets hit again. Now his team's doing quite well at the moment. They're 2 up on the enemy. There does appear to be a Leopard 1, the T95FE4201, and the TVP nearby. But he's got no sign of them. They haven't been seen for quite some while. Oh, there's that 430U again. He's going to have another shot at this guy. As soon as he's lined it up and got ready, I will take charge of the camera. And there goes the Leopard 1 that he fired at earlier. Well, he's decided not to shoot. And there's an STB-1 in the forest to the north of the map. And he's now going for that. Yes, I think he realised, just like I did, that that guy is an even bigger threat to our teammates up there. He's lined the shell up. He fires the shell in. And yes, again, he pulls away. And we do see that he does 300 hit points of damage. The shell landed slightly to one side of the aim point, but it looked to me to be fairly close to the STB-1. Yeah, a few players do actually have this habit of pulling away directly after they fire, and they do it on a repeated basis. He fires again at the 430, and again I had to take charge of the camera. He did do some critical damage, but again the shell hit the ridgeline, so there's definitely a problem with aiming at that 430U, and it might be easier for him to aim slightly further in the distance than to that 430U. Just aim a bit further on to actually try and get shots at them and get the shell to land near them. Our Object 430U's moving in on their 430U. Hasn't found him yet, but he will, I suspect. And you can see that Benoit is actually moving quite a long way forward because he's now in the river ditch. He's aiming towards that Hesh barn that we saw earlier in the game, right at the start of the game. He's dialing in, rounds out, and he hit it. He got a direct hit. And we know that because we stayed to watch the shell and we saw the shell disappear without an explosion. So we know that 430U, that FV4005 is very badly damaged. How do I know that? Well, FV4005s have got very thin armor on the turret, and you can see now he's missing virtually all of his hit points. He's only got 324 left, and he is a splash kill. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Yeah, Benoit fires another round in, and he stays this time to watch the FV4005 appear as a wreck. So he's got another kill. 3 kills now. So you can see how important it is to actually stay and watch what happens. He wouldn't have known that the FV4005 was hit by one of those shells and was now vulnerable to being taken out of the game if he hadn't actually pulled away. But he did pull away, you see, and on many other occasions when it might have been that the target that he was actually aiming at was so badly wounded that the very next shell would kill them, but he was aiming at a different tank altogether. Again, he's gone back to the 430U, who's been proxy spotted by that K91, the other side of the ridgeline, and he is actually aiming correctly now, a slightly further on to try and get the shot, and I've taken control of the camera, fires the round in. He doesn't pull away, but he does stun the 430U this time. So obviously that 430U is on the bank. He's actually on the upslope of the bank, but he's actually using it to try and make himself a very difficult target. You see, every time he goes through the field of the fire, you can see he breaks that line and it becomes red. And that means he's in the direct line of fire. And, well, now you can see that Benoit's pulled away his aim and he's now looking north. Supposedly there's a Leopard 1 up in that little hill near the forest, but I don't think he's there. I think that Leopard 1's pulled away. Now going for the Death Star, the FV215B183, who's making a bit of a hash of going through that set of woods. And this time round he stayed to watch the film, and when you saw it was a direct hit for 429. So we definitely saw that one impact. And the Leopard 1 was still there, so he was right about that. The Leopard 1 I thought would have pulled away, but he didn't. He's actually still in the vicinity, and now he's a splash kill. And he gets taken out, but the tank that killed him got killed immediately afterwards by the enemy Arty, the ST2, killed by the enemy GWE100. Okay, we're going after the Object 430U. There's only 2 minutes 30 seconds left on the clock. This time round the shell was a lot closer to the 430U. It might have damaged him, we don't know, but it has definitely stunned him. The scores are still very even, which means that the enemy is camping like mad back at their own cap area along the tree line right at the back of the map. And they're making it extremely difficult for our team to get shots on them. The only one exception to that is the TVPT 5051, who's come out of the corner and is now trying to engage our guys with that 100mm gun. And he's just killed our Leopard 1. And Benoit gets a round in there to splash him for 282 hit points. He's staying on that corner for the moment. We've had the 2-minute warning, so we're getting dangerously close to the end of the game. There's the TVP on the move. He's gone behind the houses here, but Benoit might be able to get a shot near him, but not on him, because that house is getting in the way, that wrecked house. Oh, he fires that one in. Oh, and he splash killed the TVP. The Leopards come in. He's got wiped out by our CS63. The score's still even. Oh, we're now 1 down on the enemy, and the clock's ticking down on the last minute. This is getting kind of hairy now. When I say hairy, because we are very close to the enemy, And we're starting to hemorrhage tanks. We've now lost another one. We lost the K91. We fire at the Object 430U. Benoit's not moving away. He's staying on this spot and he's watching to see what happens to the shell. 23 seconds left. 22. The CS-63's in the centre trench. The IS-7's over by the power plant or the factory. And our Heshbon is up in the north. Oh, we just lost another one. The CS-63's gone. And we're now aiming for the FV-4201, the tank we fired at the first time. And, oh my god, right at the last moment, the last of his teammates was taken out. And that meant that Benoit was the last one alive on his team. And the clock ticked out for a draw just as the last teammate was killed. So it is a draw, and he was very close to being discovered by the Object 430U on the enemy team, but thankfully he was still alive at the end of the game. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Well, second class tanker for Benoit of KIWI in the GWE100. Got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 20. He also got a Fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He got 4 exactly. And a Gore's medal for doing more damage than 8 times the hit points to his own vehicle. That's an epic medal. He also got a Battle Hero medal for getting a high caliber, the highest damage in the game. At least 20% of the enemy hit points in total. And in fact, actually, he did accumulate a lot of damage. Just look at the team score. 6,298 hit points of damage. He was really slapping those guys about. And the next highest scorer was the CS-63 with 4,745, followed by the 430U on the enemy team with 3,907, and their GWE100, 3,525 hit points. When it came to kills, he had the highest number of those. He got 4 kills. 3 kills went to the Object 430U, and 2 kills to the Gorilla 15, the GWE100, the Chieftain, and the CS-63 and ST2 on his own team. And when it came to base XP, well, he was pipped for the post on that one. The Object 430U on the enemy team got 556, and then it's Benoit with 533 base experience, and then 501 for the Chieftain that he hit early on in the battle. He fired 20 rounds in that game, got 7 direct hits, no penetration, but 18 splash. Damage of 6,298 hit points, of which 5,868 were up more than 300 meters. So you can see it was quite close to that TVP and the Leopard towards the end of the game. He was actually within 300 yards of them. Very, very close indeed. They could have discovered him at any moment. He hit 9 of the enemy, killed 4 of them, and did 406 hit points of damage assistance, plus 494 hit points of stun assist of 14 stuns. On a premium count, he earned 49,231 credits, got 4,919 for the Achievements Award. That's for getting an Epic or Battle Hero medal. He got both in this game, in a losing or drawn game. This was a draw. 81,225 credits altogether, and after ammunition resupply, took away 39,625 credits profit. He got 533 XP, 334 for the achievements, and 1,301 experience points altogether, he says. And the winner of the 2020 Pointy Head Jedi Award for Soulless Withering Draw is in the artillery is... Yeah, I think he was actually a bit taking the mick. Well, yes, unfortunately, all his teammates just started falling at the last second in that game. It looked like the enemy was going to get a win, and I felt sure that CS-63 was going to discover Benoit at any second and put a round into him, but he just wasn't fast enough down that trench to spot where he was actually located. He did do a lot of good fire, but again, as I said before, he must stay with the target to see the information that we need to see if he got a blind hit or not. He would have missed the information that he got from the FV4005 when he fired at that one and hit him with a blind hit if he pulled away just to relocate at that moment, because he wouldn't have known then that the guy was actually badly damaged. There was no record of how much damage he actually did to that FV4005 with the blind shot, and so nothing would have come up on the screen below. So he can't say, well, I could have moved my vehicle and it would have come up down below and then I would have known I would have hit him, because that information is not provided when you get a blind shot. You only get that information if you're watching to see what happens to the shell when it hits its target. But he didn't stay for that information. Well, on that occasion he did stay for that information, but on other occasions he didn't. And as a consequence, he may have missed out on getting a valuable shot and taking an enemy out of the game, because he had information that he could only get by watching what happens to the shell when it lands. And I cannot say that strongly enough. For any Arty player, you must watch what happens to your shells, because if you turn away to go somewhere else fearing that you're going to be counter-batteried, then you're going to miss out, and the viewer misses out. I would point out as well, not once during that battle was Benoit subjected to counter-battery by the enemy Arty, even though that enemy Arty was obviously a very good player. He got a lot of hit points of damage on the enemy, but he didn't try to counter-battery Benoit. And I think the reason why he didn't get a chance to counter-battery Benoit was because Benoit kept relocating, but he could have relocated whilst he was watching what happened to the shell, because you've got the ability to press the W key or the S key whilst you're still in the aim view. And I've done that on countless occasions with no problems whatsoever. So I would say it again, and I'll reiterate it. Benoit, if you do keep pulling away after you fire, then we'll have to reconsider if we're going to do your videos, because I'm afraid you're not going to provide information to the viewers that we need to see. So there it is. It was a draw. He did manage to get a draw by staying alive, but sadly, I'm afraid it was a failure by his teammates to actually keep up the pressure on the enemy and survive to the end of the game. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel. And thanks for watching.